All right, we are back live after hours, Sports Cards Live after hours. Welcome back, everybody. Joining me, co-hosting with me, hanging out with me is Joe Poirot, loyal viewer, long-time listener, first-time caller, I guess you could say. So, Joe, it's the first time we've really met. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for coming on. I want to say short notice, but it's kind of fun to run the show this way. After hours is meant to be chill, meant to be calm, meant to be just hanging out, man. So what do you have to say? What's going on? What made you want to come on with me?
Well, it's just a pleasure to be here, Jeremy. And I appreciate the show so much. So really just hearing the invitation and kind of assessing that, like, here I am as usual on a Saturday night, checking into Sports Cards Live. So yeah, I synchronicity, I guess.
Yeah, man, no, that's wicked. And again, back to where you live. Where are you again? I'll let you say. I know where you are. I don't want to say where you live if you don't want to put it out there.
Yeah, so I'm in Northern California, Santa Cruz, Pleasure Point, actually, which is about a block from one of the better surf spots around these parts. And we do have a little swell in the water today. So the boys were out there getting some barrels and whatnot.
Nice. So I was telling you, I love Santa Cruz. I've been there in like 1997. I took a trip I was living in Winnipeg, which is, like north of North Dakota. And I took a drive. I had to go down to Arizona, down to Phoenix, Arizona to see my brother. And I'm like, I'm going to drive. So I drove down, I took like a month-long trip, basically. It was in between semesters, basically, in university. So I drove down there, and then I took the Pacific Coast Highway, basically all the way up through California, Oregon, Washington, up to Vancouver, met some friends there. I went to a rave in Vancouver. This is 1997. And then we drove back across the country to Winnipeg, and me and my buddy went to the U2 Lemon Tour, went to see U2 live right after driving basically 24 hours from Vancouver to Winnipeg. But I loved Santa Cruz, man, because I met a real cute girl there, number one, at a hostel I stayed in. But it was just such a relaxed place to be. I loved the energy there was amazing. And it's funny, even just talking to you right now for the first time, you kind of give off that vibe, that just kind of relaxed, laid back kind of vibe. So thanks for reminding me of that time. That was awesome.
We've all had our youth hostel moments there. And the Highway 1 is very much a great thoroughfare for folks going up and down the coast. And is this brother you mentioned, Arizona, is that occasionally you make reference to a card shipped to your brother or something along those lines? So I'm always like, oh, that's handy. I might need a brother in Canada.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, my brother was in Arizona back then, and so I was driving down to see him. And he's my U.S. mailing address, which comes in very handy. When I have there's a stack right over my shoulder right there. That's a stack of slabs that I showed them on the After Hours show, I think last week, but I'm keeping them out because I haven't processed them into my collection yet. Meaning I haven't cleaned up the slabs, which I'm going to. I haven't scanned them and all that. And I want to, but I also think I want to make another sort of separate video, kind of like the one I put out today with the Beckett Industry Summit swag box. I want to do one with those cards and just do a one card at a time, kind of show the viewers what I got from that, saving up cards for a few months from my U.S. mailing address. It's kind of interesting. So people are saying, yeah, you should do it. You should do that kind of video, a mail day video. So I will. I think it'll be fun. So I'll do one of those. But yes, that's him for sure. So there was a comment in the last show. I forget if it was you who put it in there. I just forget who put it in there. Something about grading. Someone wanted to know something about PSA grading. So if that person is watching right now, please do put the question specifically that you want in the comments, and we'll respond to it. I don't really. This is kind of fun. Joe, I'm happy to have you on, man. Fact of the matter is, I don't know you. I know you from your name on the comments on Sports Cards Live. I think we've gone back and forth on Instagram a few times. So it's not like that's the beautiful thing about the hobby, and the beautiful thing about this time in the world is that we can make friends with people without ever hearing their voice, without ever knowing what they look like, except for the little icon that comes up in the comments. And then here we are hanging out on screen doing a live show together, really without any warning. You didn't shave your head like Chris McGill did for this. You didn't, or shave your beard. You didn't shave for it, but he certainly did. So, okay, we got some comments coming in. Peter's put the question out there. Thank you, Peter. So I want to know more about you, Joe. I really do. I want to know what you collect and all that. So we'll get there. Yeah, hang loose, brother. Hang loose for sure. So Chris West back. Chris, great to see you. I've got some family in Santa Cruz, right? I bet they're laid back and cool like Joe is, right? Legion, welcome back, my man. Welcome back. Peter says, I wanted to know your grading process and expectations. Okay. That's a pretty general type of question. Just say hi to Hockey 99 again. Yeah, man. Good times, good time. Oh, here we go. Do you have a minimum threshold you will send out? Cards you are in a hurry to get, or more send and forget with current wait times? Okay. Good question, Peter. So Joe, you're gonna hang tight for a minute and let me.
I'm riding shotgun. So here we go.
Okay, man. Okay, sounds good. So Peter, I'll tell you how I approach grading, because it's a little bit different than most people, I think. So I've never sent cards to be graded, meaning I've never done a submission from my house, put them in the courier system or the postal system and sent them down to, from Calgary, where I am, which, if people don't know, is north of Montana. I've never, sorry, I'm just closing messages in my other screen here. I've never sent them. I've only ever submitted cards to Beckett and or PSA in person at a card show. And that's just the way I've done it. Basically, I guess the only reason being is that it's cheaper. And to answer one of the other questions, I'm not in a rush. The only cards I've ever really gotten graded have been personal collection cards. So I'm happy to give them to PSA or Beckett in their slowest service, because it's the cheapest, and wait as long as it takes. So for example, in 2019, I submitted a couple hundred cards to PSA and I got them back in January of 2020. So that was a long wait. And to be honest with all you guys watching, I did a video, an unboxing kind of video of that, but it's just sitting on my phone. It's never gone out there, and I still have the footage, so I could share it eventually. But that's what I've done. That's been my approach. So these wait times, they don't faze me at all. If I have cards that I want to send to PSA to get graded, I don't care if they take a year to get. Let me rephrase it. I'm not that bothered. I'd rather have them back in a month. But if it takes a year to get back to me, I'm not going to start bitching and complaining about it. It is what it is. If I'm going to send them in, I'm going to go in with that expectation. So my expectations can't really be mismanaged, because I'm going to go in with that expectation. It's going to take a long time, but I'm pretty patient when it comes to grading my PC cards. If I wanted to get cards graded because I want to flip them quickly, I think it's impossible, because they take too long. And with the rate of change in values of cards right now, it's too risky. I believe it's too risky to do that. So, I mean, Peter, I don't know if that totally answers your question, but I think my approach is one where these wait times don't affect me personally in the hobby. I will wait until I go to another national, which will hopefully be July, August of 2021. I will take a crap ton of cards down with me, and I will leave them all with Beckett and PSA. I'll decide who's getting what. Maybe SGC, maybe CSG at that time. We'll see how things shape out between now and then. And I will wait patiently for the cards to come back. Simple as that. Joe, what do you think? I mean, how do you do grading? What can you add anything to that sort of chit chat?
Well, it brings to mind Jeff mentioning the whole phenomenon of kind of computerized grading and that sort of desire that we have for kind of the immediate gratification, and whether that's even possible. I was reflecting on the show that you had him on a few weeks back. Myself, right now, I'm not grading. I will buy graded cards, and I will buy raw cards. I did grading with BGS and BVG back in the early 2000s quite a bit. And it's just right now, it's just the time and the mental distraction of the turnaround process. I know there's moments where I could definitely increase value and whatnot. And it's just, I tuck those cards away. The few like that, perfectly centered Zion silver, I tuck it away, but I just right now, because of my professional world, I don't have the bandwidth to really dial in the grading process. But clearly, with the log jam going on, I'm okay with taking some time and kind of seeing how things develop.
Yeah. I think if you're, the Zion example and cards like that, like if you're keeping the Zion forever and you're going to eventually get it graded, then what's the rush? That's my personal approach with my PC cards that I buy raw. I would stay away from buying raw cards on eBay with the intention of getting them graded right now. However, maybe not. I mean, maybe just stockpile, because even for my personal collection. So when I said that, I meant in terms of cards you're buying to flip, or, investment pieces, one within less than a year type of hold cards. But like, I've got a box of 300 cards that I bought for my personal collection with the intention of grading, and I still want to do it. I hope the pricing doesn't get out of hand. I'm willing to do it under the cheapest service point in terms of time. And I hope that it's not going to be, because a lot of these cards, some of them are cards I paid like $30 or less for, but I still want them in my collection, and I want them uniform with the other cards in my PC. So I want them graded. But again, I'm willing to wait a very long time to do that. So I see a comment here from Peter. Okay, back from Peter, says, I'm not interested in sending them off and waiting 6+ months to get them back. But man, when I see a Bergeron Young Guns at 150 to 180 and a PSA 10 at 800 plus, yeah, I hear you, Peter. So if you're looking to sell that PSA 10, then yeah, unfortunately, you either got to send it off and pay like $200 to get it turned around right away, or just wait. If you're keeping it for a long term, it doesn't matter if you get it graded this year or next year. You just got to be able to be patient like that, which I am, thankfully for myself. Hopefully you can be too. I think that's my thought on that.
I would add too, I think there's different, beyond the flip, there's other reasons to grade cards: the slab, the protection, the sort of memorialization in your PC. Kyle at Wax Museum did a show where he's a raw card kind of guy, but he did a little SGC experiment, and he kind of did 5 different cards with each a different sort of purpose behind the grading process. One was like I think it was a Dr. J rookie with like a mark on it, but he just wanted that thing graded, and kind of like captured in time as like, hey, Dr. J rookie card. And it looks good. The SGC slabs are interesting to me. I like the new, not so much the label, but they talk about the tuxedo look, kind of the black and what that can bring out in certain cards. Sometimes PSA, the red works well. And then the BVG or BGS, I think every card, I'm not focused on one particular grading company. I'm kind of universal. Whatever comes up and whatever looks well with the aesthetics of the card.
That's I really like that approach, Joe, that you'll if that specific card looks better in PSA versus BGS or BVG versus SGC, that's a cool approach. Where I'm more of like, I like uniformity. So I've always been a PSA guy going back in time, but I'm now open to more, because you see a card on eBay, it's a BGS 9.5, and you want that card because it's rare. You buy it. Well, now I'm not going to go switch all my other cards to BGS, and I'm not only going to buy BGS in the future, but I'm going to buy more and more of them. And I'm going away from the uniformity, which was a big kind of a must-have for me in the past. But there's just too many great cards out there, so I'm kind of with you on that. And as far as other reasons to grade, you mentioned, protecting the card is one. There's other things you can protect them in the interim until you get it graded, but the other one is insurance purposes. Mm-hmm. And really the serial number, kind of the unique identifier, that's all helpful too for various reasons. So I could see reasons why you might need your cards graded faster, especially if ensuring them soon is of the utmost importance because they're so valuable, and you want to make sure that you're not, if something tragic happens to your collection, you're not going to be caught in a position where you just lose out on all that. So there are other reasons to do it, but if you can, if there's no reason to get it done quickly and you can afford to be patient, then I think wait out this time, because the grading companies will eventually catch up. They'll hire more graders, they'll get through their backlog, and they will get back to business as usual, but it could take time. It could take another year before we see that. So that's just what we're in. Jump in.
Could I ask you, I mean, back in the early 2000s when I was grading with BGS and then also buying on eBay back then, it was always the case that the BGS cards were cheaper than the PSA. And I was kind of stubborn. So I would go after the BVG, BGS, because I was like, I want the card, not the case. And, now I kind of regret that, because the PSA values have over time certainly, kind of shown to be the higher level investment, or the more attractive to collectors, maybe because of just what you're saying. People, they associate their collection as being a PSA collection, and they got to have PSA. But one curiosity I have is I have heard this from a few different sources that people are sort of feeling like PSA up to the level of the strident grading. Have you noticed that at all? Has, in your estimation, has PSA's standards gone up a little to the point where, like, what was a 7 is now a 6 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, man, there's been so many periods over the past 20 years where I've heard stories like that. I remember I think it was the early 2010s, apparently there was this new VP brought in, and it was a woman, and she was saying, we got to get harder on the grading, and grading got tougher then, and then it seems to get easier. But then you see cards that are clearly off-centered, and they're in PSA 10 holders, and it's like, that to me, maybe shouldn't be a PSA 10, but it might be within the standard. The standard of a PSA 10 isn't that it's flawless. That's not what a PSA 10 is. It just isn't. It can have a flaw or 2 or 3. So, but to the question more on point, I mean, I'm not sure if it's gotten tough. I've heard they got tougher. I've heard they got weaker. It just depends who's looking at the cards on that day. So but what I do think, and there's so many people, there's so many comments all over the place. This company sucks. That company sucks. It depends what grader you're getting on what day. It depends if the grader's in a good mood or a bad mood. That's the arena we're playing in. These are human beings, and grading is, a lot of it is subjective. Like, it shouldn't be subjective, because there are standards that they're meant to adhere to in terms of what is allowed. But I think a lot of it is subjective, and I think that they are rushing. They have to rush. They're so backlogged that I think they're taking time. They're taking less time to grade our cards than they probably should. And because of that, perhaps they're missing, and I'm speculating here, perhaps they're missing things, or they're looking too fast, or their eyes are going buggy after grading cards for a 7 hours out into an 8-hour shift. And maybe they're not seeing the width of the borders as clearly as they should. Maybe they're not pulling out their ruler for every card as maybe they should. No, but legit, like the measuring tool to get into the real small, whatever they are, whatever smaller than a millimeter, to see if the card's off-centered, right? Is it like, you hear people say, oh, it's 60-40 or it's 55-45. Well, come on, you're guessing. You're not pulling out your micrometer to measure that. So, and I just made up micrometer. I don't even know if there's such a thing, but so, okay, let's see what else we have in the comments. But good question. I mean, fun to talk about. And, these are the comments that come in after hours. Well, both shows actually are kind of unsolicited, and I don't really know what to expect. So I find oftentimes, Joe, what happens is I do a show, and then I'm like, man, I wish I would have said this, because that would have added value, and I didn't. And then, it happens to me all the time.
Well, I like feeling your liberation after the more formal show, just to kind of let loose, be a little more off the cuff. So yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, this is relax, and that was relaxing with Chris, because it was kind of unplanned. I didn't have a comprehensive set of notes like I usually do. But let's see who else we have here. I want to say hi to everybody. Facebook user, I wish I knew who you were. I'm sure I know you. The Giant Lemon Tour. You were in Edmonton with Fun Loving Criminals opening, right? Yes. Man, good times. Those are like, we talk about the hobbies, all about reminiscing. You take me back to the summer of 97. That was a critical summer in my life, a great summer. All-Time Greats blog. Welcome. Foul Five Ball. Good to see you again. You live off the Pacific Coast Highway, but in Southern California. Very cool. Good to see you again. Paul, Colin, good to see you again. Sending in can go bad as you. Oh, yeah. Colin sent in some cards the other day, and he got them back, and it literally looked like a truck was driven over the slabs, and it was. There were tire marks on his slabs. Couple went bad, fewer than he thought originally. Felt so bad for you the other day, Colin, when you sent me those pictures. Holy crap, man! So I hope that works out for you. PSA is an hour drive from me. That sounds like heaven to me, where you could just drop off your cards in person and pick them up when they're ready, no matter how long it takes. Where I am, it's just, I can't even cross border into the United States right now. Global sports card investor. My approach from an international point of view is to grade for the next season. Smart. Yeah, plan ahead. Peter, perfect. You're not, we already got to that one. Thank you. Name of Indigenous rookie cards. Joe.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah, there you go. Legion says, I used to, and hello name. Good to see you, my man. Legion says, I used to do quality control for high-tech manufacturing, so seeing defects was my business. I submitted 10 cards to PSA, all came back 10s. You just have to have an eye for things. I think that's something that is underappreciated by hobbyists. You think a card out of the pack is a 10. It isn't, right? Very rarely is a card out of the pack a 10. But you have to look at your card. And I showed in the last episode, for modern cards, surface issues other than dimples and some of these prisms, which can be a problem, or print lines, those really thin lines that go through cards.
Mosaic.
If you see them, don't send them in. On vintage, you have to watch for bends and creases and wrinkles. You have to watch for these things. And the best way, I showed it earlier, I'll show it again. When you're looking at a card, you need light. And you don't want to put the light head on like this. That's not going to show you much. It's just going to show you a specific part. But you have to do it like this. You have to look at the card under light like this. Because if you do this, you're going to cast a shadow. The wrinkle will cast a shadow below. So this is how the pros do it. I didn't make this up. I'm only going by what I've seen, what I'm emulating from some of the experts I've seen, vintage especially. That's how you do it. So you have to really examine your cards before you send them. And I'll admit it, I've sent in a lot of cards that I haven't cleaned before. By cleaning, I mean, with a microfiber cloth and getting rid of fingerprints especially. I haven't done that enough. I probably got some 7s that would be 8s, and 8s would be 9s, and 9s that would be 10s if I had done that. So, but good to know, Legion, that if you examine your cards close enough, you should have a better gem rate or mint rate type of thing. Legion, great to see you. Name, hope you're doing well. Yes, and Name is doing great. Thank you. Chris West, can only imagine the volume of logjam these grading companies have. Yeah, man, people have sent in so many cards lately. The backlog must just be huge, for sure. And, but I want to shout out ComC as well, just because another company that is getting a lot of, I'm seeing some negative comments about it. And to me, it's like, we have to cut some slack to every service provider out there right now because of just what's going on in the world. I think we should just cut some slack to all of them. PSA, BGS, ComC, SGC, any of these companies that are slow, let's just cut them a little more slack than we have been. That's just my personal position on it. So take it for what it's worth. Paul Cashman, Pro Set cards. See them on eBay. Yes, Pro Set cards. I love the Stanley Cup hologram, though. To me, that's a very important card in the hobby, in the hockey niche, at least. My good man, Darcy, I'm wondering what the next step in evolution of hockey cards will be. The company should look more at what the collectors think. We are the hobby as collectors. Yeah, for sure. But with that, if we're going to come with kind of requests, let's come with solutions, I think, because these guys are just human like we are. And Darcy's one of my best friends. Like we go back 15 years in the hobby, setting up shows together, all that. And I think that, we are Darce. We know the guys at Upper Deck. We could tweet them. We could text them, call them, and say, hey, here's an idea, because they need ideas and they want our ideas. They want to satisfy us. So I think as much as we want them to continue to what's the word? Oh man. Innovate. Thank you. As much as we want them to innovate, maybe let's give them some suggestions on what to do. Because I think a lot of the companies, I'll speak to Upper Deck on this because I'm, my hockey kind of angle is that they do innovate. They come out with new concepts every year, but they still get kind of crapped on for not coming out with new things. And then people blame the lack of competition because of the monopoly and the exclusive license. But I think I want to give Upper Deck a bit of credit in that, not even a bit, a lot of credit that they've, in the cup every year, there's a new insert, whether it's autographed tickets. They did the tickets the one year, the monumental patches. I mean, those were innovative in their time. What's next in the evolution? It's such a great question, because what is it? Is it DNA card? Is it hair? Is it, we talked about ice, melted like the water from ice. And Upper Deck's legal team looked at it and they said, we can't do that. If a kid drinks that ice and it's got bacteria in it and the kid gets sick or the person gets sick, well, then we're going to have a liability on our hands. So some things are just impossible for them to do. I don't know what's next. I hope it's not bigger booklets, because I'm not a fan of booklets. Aside from monumentals, I'm not a fan of booklets. But anyway.
My thought on that, Jared, is I think there's a creative tension between innovation and tradition, if you will. I mean, these sets have an association, and so you can stray a little bit off of the prototype, if you will. But other, like if we're talking about a prism model, there's a prism look, there's a prism aesthetic, there's something that people are expecting when they understand a prism. Now that's not going to get us out of like Panini using images for 3, 4, or 5 different releases, like the Clearly Donruss. I guess that has come up a little bit, like how many new photos are there. But yeah, I mean, it depends, I guess, on what you're talking about in terms of innovation. But I think there is something to be said for sticking with a brand and or a look or an aesthetic and kind of staying somewhat true to that.
Yeah. So last night on Carlos's channel with Carvin, they talked a lot about that, about how Upper Deck puts out SP Authentic every year, and it's always got that kind of white motif look to it, a very clean card. And people might say, hey, change it up, but you got a lot of loyal collectors that build that set every year with the Future Watch autographs and the base set and some of the inserts, and they don't want that changed because that's what they collect. I remember when Black Diamond format was completely changed, those Black Diamond collectors were very upset, and my response to them was, sorry, but time to find something else, But at the same time, it's like, I feel for you though. I feel for you, because this was your annual project and now it's just taken away. You can't collect that set anymore under the old format. I understand the pain, but now once got to go through the five phases of acceptance or whatever, those you got to go through that process, right?
Yep.
Yeah, agree. Once you accept that they're not making that product in that format anymore, now you got to move on and find the next thing, because that's the beautiful thing about this hobby is there's always other things, and you will find there's so many things to choose from. You'll find something else out there that you like, and if you don't, maybe that's a sign to quit. And I don't want to ever send anyone away from the hobby, but listen, I'd rather have you gone than have you in the hobby and complaining all the time and making your airing your dirty laundry on forums and Instagram and Facebook just because you're pissed off. Like, you know what? Maybe it's time to go if that's the case. But again, I don't want to send anyone away from the hobby. But if you don't want to be here, then I think you can kind of figure that out. All right. I don't know. It's like, hey, man, we're freestyling here. So I might say something I regret. You never know.
Well, everyone's got free will. And if you're, it's about enjoyment. It's about, bringing in, hopefully, some fulfillment to your life. So yeah, by all means. And maybe an option at that point too is going backwards, right? I mean, when we're talking about releases, that's the territory ahead. There's always nooks and crannies in the past and kind of exploring what you may have missed or not looked. I loved, Chris was mentioning the record collections. I was kind of like going back into that Jordan one. I really want that card. That's such a sweet, it's like the old vinyl with Jordan look, and then you guys got on the Gretzky rookie. And I'm not a hockey card collector, but I want an O-Pee-Chee, not a Topps, an O-Pee-Chee Gretzky rookie. I think I'm looking in the 1 to 3 range. PSA one. There was a 1.5 that kind of caught my attention. So anyway, there's
you know what,
the past.
Yeah, and speaking of the Gretzky 1.5, you can find some really nice 1.1s, Gretzky 1s and 2s. You can find some horribly ugly ones that have been literally rolled up and then flattened out again. But you can find some that there's a big issue on the back maybe, or there's a crease through it, but overall it looks nice. You can still get those for sure. Okay, Hockey says, in theory, there shouldn't be a difference between an SGC 10 and a PSA 10 in market price. SGC is apparently a tougher grader. Well, I disagree with this comment, Hockey. And the reason I disagree is because, well, I guess it ignores brand. And brand is important in every industry and every product out there. I mean, this is going to sound ridiculous, but it's just what comes to mind. It's like saying there shouldn't be a difference in price between a Corvette and a Trans Am. They can both drive 200 miles an hour, and they both seat 4 people, and they both have they're both automatic, and they both have power windows. But they look different. They have a different brand. They had different creators. Like, there's differences there. So, but I do understand what you're saying, though. You're saying a 10 should be a 10, but unfortunately, that's just not the way the world works. It's just not the way the hobby works. And, it's the other difference is all three major companies have different point scales. They have different grading scales. So I don't agree with that completely, but I hear where you're coming from. So at least understand that I do hear where you're coming from. And I even hear it, maybe in theory, but practically speaking, and practically is pragmatic. Pragmaticism is pragmatically it just doesn't make sense. It's not the way it works, but I hear you.
And as a collector too, Jer, I'm like I feel like, especially because SGC had that window where PSA was closed down more recently, like I'm just thinking about the pragmatic aspects of getting it graded and getting it through the PSA system. And different cards, different graders, different day. Who knows? Buy the card, not the case. But you throw in things like registries. You throw in people that have a sort of collecting style, or this is what I collect. And the fact of the matter is, there's a heck of a lot more PSA folks than there are SGC folks. So for now,
supply and demand, and PSA's set registry creates a lot of demand for their slabs. So another sort of reason why there should be a difference, and there is a difference in price. Simple supply and demand, right? You take those cards out of the holders, now you have an argument that they should sell for the same price if they're the same cards. Another thing we have to mention is that not all PSA 10s are the same quality of 10. Not all 9s. There's strong 9s and weak 9s, and you can say that for any grade point along the way. So, okay. But great comments still, Hockey 99. I appreciate it. Colin, sending in high-value cards with the express service is $75. And if a PSA slab is going to increase the value a big amount, then take advantage of that service. In 6 months, value can go down. Good point, right? If it's a card you're looking to move quickly, then you should pay that higher value. And that's why they eliminated the middle grade point, the service level, and increased the price of the others. That might have been Beckett, but I think they both have done some price adjustments lately. I bought PSA 10s where there were dinged edges. Yeah. Again, you can have the odd flaw in a PSA 10. It's not a flawless card. I think the closest we get to flawless cards are the BGS 10 black labels and the SGC gold 10s, which I've never seen one like in hand or anything, but I think those are meant to maybe be flawless, but they don't say flawless. I think they're called pristine. If someone wanted to take the next step, a card company, and it'd be risky because if you ever put a card in a flawless holder, call it a PSA 11 or something like that, or a BGS 10.5. Again, that could be an idea. Colin says, I think the standard has dropped based on my last 4 subs. Okay, so he's talking about the grading standards for PSA.
Huh.
If there is a Spinal Tap card, they need to get one a PSA 11. Chris always has interesting comments. Thank you, Chris. Legion says GTS showed the O-Pee-Chee and Topps Gretzky 10 rookies up for auction side by side, and there was a definite difference in quality between the two. Yeah, the O-Pee-Chee PSA, there's two of them. One of them is the first one graded, and then there's the second one graded. The first one graded is known as being off center. Is it a 10? Probably. It's probably still a 10. Are there PSA 9s that are nicer? Probably. And should some of those PSA 9s be 10s? Probably. Why aren't they? Because there's subjectivity involved, and there's maybe some politics involved as well. I'm just speculating, 100% speculation. Chris says, great point. So AI grading is not a question of if, but when. Again, this is where my kind of viewpoint differs from many. I don't think we're ever going to see it. I know Jeff Wilson from Sports Card Investor has a vision of being able to go into a sports card store, give them your card, they put it in a machine, and 5 minutes later it pops out with a slab and a grade. I mean, that is nirvana. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. And he says he's not the guy to do it. I don't think it's possible. Just my own, based on having Karn on my episode when he commissioned the study, we talked about that, and these PhD students determined it really wasn't possible. Never say never.
What I would like to see is a hybrid. I mean, I'd like to see maybe a pre-grade from something AI, and then the human eyes with the information that the pre-grade has had. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, because I fundamentally don't want to turn everything over to a computerized system. Who's enjoying cards? Human beings, human eyes. So, connecting that, and so I'm allowing for the fact that, yeah, probably some computer reckoning would be good for things like centering, for noticing a small dimple, like, sure. And then get that data to the human and let the human do a more rapid reading of the card, and that might help the whole process.
I love that idea, man. I've never thought of it. I love the idea of let the machine grade certain criteria of the card, but let the human then verify. Yeah. Centering is really tough to figure out on some cards that don't have borders. So is that going to be computer or human? Well, maybe when you put the card in the machine, you select the criteria you want it to grade based on the brand, based on the brand, and then the human finishes the job. Yep. That could be something. Still going to take some massive, capital investment by one or many of these companies, and hopefully they're looking at it. But anyway, really great thought, Joe. I love that idea. I never thought of it. Sean says StarStock's Scott Greenberg was saying that they have intentions of offering a service to send cards directly to PSA and receive back maybe 2021. Great. If you're a StarStock user, that's I saw him on the channel, another channel on Wednesday, and I thought, why not? I mean, ComC did that with Beckett for a while. I don't know if they still do or not. Chris says there's a tool like that. Jeremy, micrometers are used to measure thickness. Source, son of a machinist. Yeah. A micrometer. I think I said that. So I was actually right. Wow. That must look at that. Making up words and they actually mean what I thought they should mean. Cool. I must have heard it sometime in the past. Oh, I appreciate that, Paul. Who is the anonymous Facebook user? There's another one down here I see that says, "Hey, Jeremy," but we're not down there yet. You'd need calipers to measure the centering unless you want to put a ruler directly on the card. Okay. I mean, I think there's ways around that, but who knows? PSA is like a 30-minute drive for me, but I don't think they allow local drop-offs. Yeah, well, you could probably figure out some way to get them in there. Legion. Oh, we're laughing with Legion's comment. My favorite PSA reveal. The YouTuber was lamenting 6s and 7s on 1980s baseball. Joe Orlando popped in the comments mentioning getting a better eye for cards. You could see they were off-centered in the video. That's great when Joe Orlando comes in and basically says, "Hey, you're not looking straight, pal." Yeah. Hockey 99. Hard to scale up in a pandemic when you can't do the job from home. Yeah. I mean, and hiring people is tough, and they're trying to. Yep, ComC can only pack orders so fast unless people want stuff packed in correctly. Yep, still waiting for the tooth relic. There's some innovation, the tooth relic. Yeah, and I wonder if, bacteria and degeneration and all that stuff. Booklets are puke. Yeah, I like some of them are beautiful, but some of them I just like when you got 20 guys on a card or 8 jersey pieces, they just don't appeal to me. Peter Chow, honestly, the only thing I want from a grading company is consistent grading with tight and public parameters for each grade. Yes, and a quality slab and a card that doesn't move around too much and a flip that doesn't fall out of place like you see on some Beckett holders and almost all KSA holders. KSA is a Canadian grading company that, okay. Ha. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Facebook user. I'm sure I know you, but I just don't know who you are right now. Legion, haha, the Spinal Tap grade. I see. I'm not even sure what that refers to, but I don't know all the inside jokes in the hobby. 3D scan the card could help the grading process. Yeah, it could. It could. Playoff beard cards. They've already done hair cards of famous people. Yeah, that's one I could see. It's hard to think of hair doing any damage to anybody physically. We've seen it in terms of like, I think they did a hair card of like Abraham Lincoln way back in the day or something like that. Gareth Miller, welcome, says, pretty sure there is a fake Joe Orlando account on YouTube that is a smart ass to people, and people get mad that he's trolling them. Oh gosh, if that's the case, then yeah, Joe could be getting a bad rap that he doesn't deserve from that perspective, at least. Cool. All right, we're at the bottom of the comments. That's fun. Man, what else do you want to talk about, Joe?
Well, I like that Josh Allen card you broke out, and it kind of made me think a little bit about your Shield collection. And I'm not a hockey collector, but like your Shield collection is strong. I mean, that's and it's an element of hockey card collecting that I think, as mostly these days a basketball collector, I'm like, I guess the closest corollary is the logo man, the NBA logo man. But what I like about the Shields is they seem a little more diverse. The logo man is just, that classic Jerry West, red, white, and blue thing. The Shields get a little more idiosyncratic, probably, I guess, depending on the teams and their colors. I don't know.
Yeah. So two things. Shields will differ in color based on what year the jersey's from. The jerseys change, whether it's Nike, Adidas. And then you can sometimes get the Shield sits on the color of the jersey, so you can get an orange background, a white or a black background, or other colors as well. So those brighten them up. But I don't have a Shield collection. That's the only thing. I don't know if your commute can.
Oh, I'm thinking about your guest. Who is the guest that had the ridiculous? I'm blanking on the name. You don't have a Shield collection.
I don't have a Shield collection.
The Shield, I think, and I was kind of like struck by. Was it the guy? Had the fire and he had to like escape like all his cards?
No, that was Sean Chalk, who's the Gretzky collector. Okay. The Shield collection, I had the guys on that had the Monumental collection.
Okay.
They were on the wall behind them. The brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That might be who you're thinking about, but no, I don't have a Shield collection. I'm not a huge fan of Shields. They're cool. I don't have a single Shield in my collection.
Right?
I've had one or two in my inventory over the years, but I much prefer, I would way prefer this to say a Shield card, because there's colors. The Shield, the NHL Shield doesn't turn me on at all. This turns me on, from a card perspective.
Are there any patches that aren't Shields that are specifically hockey jersey?
I have a one-of-one emblem collection. That might be what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you. So maybe it was the emblems. And so those are just maybe connected to the mascot or whatnot.
Yeah, this fits into my collection because of those emblems I have, which this would fit right into that collection. And someone made the comment to me on Instagram that, hey, that's perfect for you. It's a perfect card for you because you have all those emblem cards. One day I'll do a video and just show some PC stuff and kind of a non-live, I think. But yeah. Okay, let's see. We have some new comments that have come in. Chris, Spinal. I know who Spinal Tap is. And their amps don't go to 10, they go to 11. Thank you, Chris. Okay, I'm in the know now. I'm in the know. Question for Joe from Sean Robb. Do you spend a lot on grading relative to your purchases of raw cards?
Again, I'm not grading these days, and I'm more interested in graded cards in general. I'm pretty eclectic in my tastes. I do pre-war baseball. I do modern basketball. I do, the classic baseball, 50s. I'm pretty interested in right now, Satchel Paige, Larry Doby, Jackie Robinson. That's kind of a spirit. So not so much grading. No, more thinking about whether I'm willing to take a risk on a raw card or if I need it graded. And that there's a lot of factors involved in that.
Cool, man. I love when you just mentioned the Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby. I mean, I'm a Hall of Fame rookie collector, and I don't have the Larry Doby, but I have the other two guys. And but I remember looking at Larry Doby's. I'm no longer pursuing that broad of a Hall of Fame rookie collection. So a lot of the lesser knowns, like a Larry Doby, it's not on my want list anymore, but it was at one time. So, and he's not a guy that I even would have heard of if he wasn't a baseball Hall of Famer, but nice to hear that. And how can you not want a Jackie Robinson rookie card? I mean, so important outside of sports. Just,
yeah, that Leaf set, I think it's 49 Leaf. And there's a Jackie, there's a Satchel, and the Satchel I think is a short print, and it's a hard card to find for, any less than 5 figures. I mean, you're looking in the 10 and up. And then there's the Larry Doby, and that's the card that feels a little more reasonable to me right now. So that's kind of what I've been looking for. And again, getting back to that scarcity thing that we were talking about earlier with Chris, it's like there's only so many of those around and available and coming up. So yeah, keeping an eye out.
Yeah. It's the 48 Leaf. Like
48
this card, that's the 48 Leaf Jackie.
Oh, look at that. Whoa. Grail there.
This is my favorite card in the set. I mean, I love the Jackie more for the player, but I love this orange. I love the Warren Spahn card, man. This is
the
just
color,
a beauty.
Registration deep, just like whoa, fresh paint.
Yeah, man. I picked up that card. I bought the card. I looked at many before I found one that I wanted, because the Warren Spahn card is notorious for having horrible registration and very, very blurry, as is the Jackie Robinson. What do you got here?
Well, this is a reprint. It's the card I would like to own, and unfortunately, I don't have like 29K lying around, but it's a beautiful Satchel Paige. And then I have this legit. This is also a knockoff. I think it's like some sanctioned knockoff, but I got that in the safety deposit box. I'm a little bit careful, a little maybe even paranoid of certain cards just being in a safe place.
I hear that, man. As far as Satchel Paige goes, so I have the 49 Bowman in my collection.
Yeah, I love that card. Is that a 4 or 5?
It's a 5. It's a 5. Yeah.
I remember when you pulled that out, and I mean the blue on that, the aqua, and it's
such a great card. But it's the Leaf card that you showed the reprint of that is the more valuable one. Like a 3 just went for like 18 grand or something I saw. So I love the old baseball, man. Someone said Roy Campanella. Yep, there's my again, another card I waited for a nice centered 7. This is a 7. I bought this years ago, but I waited for a really nice copy. I just love it. I love it. I like this is what baseball cards were in the 40s. Like amazing.
So talk about like, the recent boom in our bubble time with the modern cards, and then you kind of start to do the back and forth between, wait, I could get a Satchel Paige, maybe a 2 or something for the same price. I could get like a Luca, optic or something. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I love Luca, and I think Luca's going to do amazing things, but I mean, you got history over here, and then it's not, there's no right or wrong. It's just kind of evaluating your own sensibilities of like, what do I really want to have in my collection?
Man, I mean, so, I'm with you. Like, I would never spend 15,000 plus on a Luca or a Zion or any of these young guys because they could easily get hurt and their career could be over tomorrow. It happens. It happens more than we'd like. So I would never do that. I would much rather put it in the older player. But do I want to go back as far as the 40s? Like only for the absolute like legends, the icons, the Jackie Robinsons, because a lot of these other guys like Larry Doby's, no one's going to care about Larry Doby in 50 years. I don't think anyone's going to care about Larry Doby in 50 years.
It's
Jackie
funny.
Robinson will always be cared about.
Right. And I it's funny you say that because Chris was on. It reminded me of a crossover show maybe like 3 or 4 weeks back. And I threw something into the chat as Josh and Chris were going back and forth. And it was about Eddie Plank. I don't know if you are familiar with, the Hall of Famer Eddie Plank, but I mean, he has like some really important cards in the pre-war world. And I asked something along the lines of, it makes me wonder, will people, want to collect, will they want to drop, 5-10K on Eddie Plank in 20, 30, 40 years? And I think it was Josh kind of just said, Eddie Plank, I don't even know who Eddie Plank is, and so I think that's to your point, right? There's icons, there's the upper level stratosphere of the names that will never, and then there's the next tier. And I'd like to think as a collector that next tier will kind of continue to have a following, but I'm not sure it will. And it probably won't be spiking.
I don't think it will. That's why. So back to the Eddie Plank, I believe he's got a very rare card in the T206 series.
Yep.
So I would say, well, I don't think people are going to remember Eddie Plank, but are they going to remember Ty Cobb? Ty Cobb to me is an all-time well-known. He'll always be talked about till the end of time. Right. I don't think Eddie Plank will be. So, again, I would be more interested in Jackie Robinson than Larry Doby. I'd be more interested in Ty Cobb than Eddie Plank, right? Like that's just right. It's from a long-term investment perspective.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I fall. Let's get to some comments here, but good line of discussion. Enjoy that. Global Sports Card Investor says, ship my cards, have an absolutely awesome service. They are going under the radar. I use them as my shipping, grading, PWCC consignments, and so much more. Absolutely first class. Yeah, I've heard of them, and a company that I should use more for sure. Paul Cashman says, shields are kind of boring. I agree. And they're either like they're black and white, or there's some that are orange and black, or they're silver and black. I mean, gosh, I don't have any desire to own a shield. I personally just do not. Same thing goes for Logo. Yeah, and Paul says ditto with Logo Man. Same for me. The Logo Man to me is not a good looking card. I'd rather have a limited logos with a unique swatch in it and some various colors moving around that is unique. Just me. Dexflow asks, Jeremy, do you ever do inventory on your PC and what the total value of it is? Dex, man, I mean, I've tried, and prices move so fast, and I add cards so often, and I'm trying to get an idea. I use Card Ladder for my personal collection, and I think I have 71 cards logged in Card Ladder. I probably have more than 3,000 in my personal collection. I don't think I'll ever know. I don't think I'll ever know what my collection is worth. I think I just have to come and be okay with that, with the fact that I'll never know what my collection is worth, but it's got value. It's got value. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and I've really appreciated hearing you reflect on not only sort of the strategies you have about bringing the card into your collection, but also I think you mentioned in some show or another, like letting it linger on the desk for, a week or two so you can appreciate it, right? Before you really put it into wherever it's like resting places. Not that you can't pull it out from time to time when you want to see it, but there's sort of a courtship when you get that card in from the mail that you want to like experience. And that's part of the joy, right? Like what are we doing this for, if not to kind of commune with that piece that, took a while to track down, took a while to get through to the mail, obviously took resources to acquire. So anyway, I love that part when you reflect those moments, Jared, in your show, and it's like, it kind of reminds me to do that too. And I appreciate that.
Oh man. Well, you're welcome. And thanks for picking up on that. And yeah, it's I call it processing the card into the collection. It's a process, and it's part of the hobby experience. And it start, you know, when the first for each card goes through the process, and the time zero of that process is the first time you see it, whether it's in an eBay search or at a card show or in a card shop, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. When you first see that card and decide you're going to pursue it, that's the beginning of the process of the hobby experience, all the way up until that card gets tucked away into its final resting place. And again, you can pull it out from time to time if it's not in the safety deposit box or offsite in a secure storage facility. I use all these things, you know, because some cards are worth more than others, but and you know, you just want to be careful. But yeah,
they're starting to get to know me at the bank there, because I come by and they've got a little room, and I go in there for like a good 45 minutes. They're probably wondering like, what is he doing in there? And it's like kind of swapping stuff out, and I'm taking a few pictures, and like, you know, it's a Saturday morning and there's no in the bank. So anyway,
it was you that sent me pictures from the bank the other day, wasn't it?
It was. I did. I think a couple.
Yes, here they are. Oh, look at.
Oh yeah, that's the satchel. Yeah,
that's the satchel. That's the Bowman. So that's the same one that I have. So that's not the Leaf card that you have the reprint of.
Right. No. Yeah, I've got actually two of those. I got a 3 and a 2. The 5 looks really nice. Could I trade a 3 and a 2 for a 5? I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, for sure you would. I would think value-wise that would make sense. There's a couple of sellers at the National. One of them, his name is Brady. I don't know his last name, and the other one's name is Jeff. They set up together at a booth called Card. Oh gosh, it'll come to me. But these guys have a ton of pre-war, high grade, everything, all the biggest cards in the hobby. And, you know, maybe not the Honus Wagner, but everything else. And I learned a lesson from these guys many years ago, which is, you know, when you're buying a card, you know, a lot of people don't realize that there's weak 6s and strong 6s. So buy the strong 6, buy the strong 7 if you can. And I've done that along the way. So if I have a 5, it's a pretty nice 5. Otherwise, I would have bought a 6, right? But I'm happy with a very nice. I'd way rather have a beautiful 5, a strong 5, than a weak 6. I'd probably rather have a strong 5 than a weak 7. That's how I've governed myself over the years and built my collection. So I'm a big believer in strong for the grade. I have cards in my inventory that are, say, a strong 5. I will price it higher than I'll price a 7 of the same card, because I believe it's worthy of that extra value. And I don't care if the book says different, or if comps say otherwise, or if PSA's completed sales say less. And someone says to me, well, how could you ask $3,000? The last one sold for $1,500. I'm like, okay, well, because look at the card. It's strong for the grade. And a lot of people kind of look at you and roll their eyes, and that's fine. Eventually you'll get there. But anyway, just the way I approach things.
And I think that's an awesome approach. And I'll try and I'll fool myself from time to time and try and go with maybe a different one, either like a cheaper one, or I'll get the OC qualifier with the PSA, you know, slab, and I'll be like, yeah, maybe I'm going to sell this. You know what I mean? Like I think in line, it's not the exact same thing you were saying, but you know, going for like, this is the representation of this card I want in my collection. So I want it to feel right. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the right girl, you know, you're like, is she the one? Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt. No, it's you use the human analogy, but it's true. Like us hardcore collectors, like our cards are like our babies, you know. It's like they really are important to us. It's almost inexplainable, and sometimes it seems irrational. Sometimes I try and step outside and look back. I'm like, do I really love these pieces of cardboard as much as I do? Like, am I really putting so much time into these pieces of cardboard? And then I step back and I say, just like I said, what Chris McGill says, cards make my life better. They do. I admit it. They do. End of story. Good enough. Okay, let's keep going. Joe, did you ever check out the TriStar show in San Francisco, Joe? You ever been to that?
Shoo. You know, my show days were literally back in the 70s in the Bay Area. So I did go to the Cow Palace. There might have been a TriStar show there, but no, I took a pretty long hiatus, when high school hit and, kind of got interested in other stuff. So I collected from the time I was about, 1976, like out of packs. And then I started going to shows around 79. I grew up in Berkeley. So there was a card shop there by the name of King's Sports Cards. And I would spend pretty much every afternoon in there, looking at things. And this was long before grading. And I remember one day I was a big Pete Rose fan. I'm not as big of a Pete Rose fan now, but I had found a 53 mantle, like coffee stained mantle. And he had a pretty nice Pete Rose rookie, and I traded, and I was always kind of regretful of that. But no, I can't think of. There was probably, I've seen the TriStar ads, but I don't know if I've been to one.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the 53 mantle, because Colin Murray says 1953 tops look awesome, and I gotta say, I agree. I think the 1953 tops mantle in particular is nicer than the 52 tops mantle. I just think it's a more vibrant image, and I absolutely love the Willie Mays in the 1953 tops. That to me is probably the nicest baseball card of all time. I mean, it's
absolutely. I mean, it's another high number, and you got to watch out for the touched up black on the borders, but I love that one too. It's like you can feel the softness of the glove, and the mantle, the red border on the mantle too, and the 50. I love the 53 tops baseball. To me is probably it's the nicest out there, I think, as well. Legion says 54 Bowman. I consider it one of, if not the best looking sets of all time. Your guys' thoughts? I can't picture it actually. I can't picture it. It's got the facsimile auto, and it's they are pretty. They've got soft colors. The Williams, in particular, the Ted Williams, I think is a short print of some nature. It's a tough card.
I got it now. Yeah.
I didn't get too into those. I was kind of a 55 tops guy. I think between the Koufax and the Clemente, second year Aaron, the warmth. I mean, you're working with horizontal there, but you don't like the 52, huh, Jerry? You're not.
No. Don't get me wrong. I like it.
You do. Okay.
I like it. I just think 53 is a nicer card. I think the 53 mantle, I don't know. I mean, the 52 is so iconic, but the 53, I just like the image better of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a 52 tops Mays?
No, I don't have I did it one time. I had a PSA 3. I bought it wrong, got it graded, it came back a 3. I sold it. I think that's probably the only 52 tops card I've ever had.
So just on my mind right now with collecting is Mays and Aaron, in so much as, God bless them. I'm not sure how much time they have left. I think Mays might even be on the verge of blindness. I think he's, 80 something. So anyway, not to be a death merchant, but being aware that there'll probably be a pretty significant, I mean, if not Mays and Aaron, in terms of the fact that they're even still with us and their historical magnitude on the game, I think they're going to, between autographs and just some of their prime issues, I think they're probably going to see an uptick in the next, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and they fall into that category of guys that will never be forgotten. Maybe 200 years from now, maybe. But
bingo.
Yeah. All right, what else we got here? Chris asks, how do you two think a super retro set in a style like that would go over in today's market? I mean, Topps Heritage does it, or I believe. I think it would go over great. I do. I think it would go over great. Let's keep going. He then says, 100% when this stuff exploded, I started buying Mad Jordan base 10, Skybox 91 for $100 all day. Larry Doby, first black player in the American League. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, but still not. It that pales in comparison to being the first black player to break the barrier, which we remember Jackie Robinson as. Retro style, like those 49 leaf Bowmans. Yeah, that'd be, I mean, but we've seen stuff like it. I know in hockey we had a set that looks just like the 49 Bowmans or Leafs, I believe, just came out not too long ago. I think it was a Leaf product. Actually, it must have been a Leaf product. Hockey 99. I am a Canadian. Should I create a business for tax purposes if selling on eBay? Well, if you want tax advice, I'd be happy to invoice you for my expertise off camera, Hockey 99. But in all, technically, you don't need to create a business, because I think you mean create a corporation. You can run a business as a sole proprietor. I think the question is, should you be reporting your sales on your income tax return? The answer is, if you are buying and selling cards with the intention of generating a profit, then you are in fact doing business, which means you are in fact needing to report your profits to the government and paying tax on those profits if your intention is to generate a profit. Hockey, not looking to be a power seller. Doesn't matter. Legion says, I answer that question. I am a CA, CPA, and I practiced tax for over 15 years of my career. So I'm not just shooting from the hip. Legion says, my collection has value. Jeremy Lee, 2020, mild understatement. Too funny. Deck says, agree about long-term legacy. I literally goggle all-time great list and get the top 25 players only. People remember Kobe, but other Hoffers like Tracy McGrady will be forgotten. 100% agree. I agree. I mean, generally forgotten. And we're talking way down the road, not yet. As long as these guys are alive and the fans of them are alive, they'll be remembered. But we're talking about players that were playing in the 1910s, 1920s. We're 100 years later already. I'm talking. You got to think that far down the road. That's what I'm talking about when I say will be forgotten. I'm literally thinking out 100 years. Babe Ruth is still often discussed. Those people discussing him haven't seen him play, and that's right, because he's a pioneer. He's an all-time great. He.
Candy bars.
What's that?
Candy bars, right? They made candy bars after him.
And he's bigger than the sport. That's the thing. Some of these people are bigger than the sport they play. It's like everyone's heard of Mike Tyson. He'll never. Muhammad Ali. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These guys are never going to be forgotten. And ever. Babe Ruth. Well, Babe Ruth is maybe the biggest of all these names we're talking about. What's this? No offense, man. I'm always in awe of some of the cards shown on this show. Don't be rude. He wasn't being rude. I knew you weren't being rude, Legion. I knew you weren't. What's up, brother? Is that my man? Rich Barone? This must be my man, Rich Barone. My brother from another mother, the mayor of Canada from Long Island, New York. Glad to see you, my man. I know it's you. I just know it's you. All right, good stuff. Bottom of the comments.
Are you breaking any wax these days? Do you get boxes? Do you pull anything off of Panini or do anything just for fun?
Almost never, man. I did buy a couple boxes at the LCS the other day at Eastridge Hobbies. I was in there right near me. I bought a couple boxes of this Champions Path Pokemon.
Oh,
yeah, okay. Which I've never bought a box of Pokemon before.
Right.
I bought it because it's a beautiful display box. Have you seen this thing? What it looks like?
No.
I'll grab it. It's right here.
I mean, I know the Pokemon art is one of the main features, so it wouldn't surprise me that they have beautiful boxes.
It's this thing. I mean, it's really a nice display box, and I mean, I bought it because I'm dabbling in Pokemon, and there's a Charizard that might be in here that's that's a nice Charizard. It's got value, and I thought, you know what? I'll just sit on it. I'm not going to open it.
So that's a new release. That's like just
brand new release. And then I bought this box too because they brought it in. It's an 0405 Upper Deck Series 1 hockey.
Okay.
The cool thing about this product is that it's got the retro Young Guns or the Young Gun, whatever. I forget what they're called, but there's a Gretzky Young Gun in here. There's an Yzerman Young Gun in here. I mean, kind of cool. And just again, it wasn't expensive, so I just grabbed it as a. But again, I'm not going to open it. I don't think. Maybe one day, but no plans to.
How many Gretzky autos do you have, or do you have any?
I have a couple in my inventory. In my personal collection, I can think of two. 2001 or 0001 or 0102 Premier, Upper Deck Premier, the first year Premier came out. They did a nice autograph set, and there's two Gretzky's in it, an Oilers and a Rangers card, and I have both of those. Yeah.
We were talking about the parallels between the 79 O-Pee-Chee and the 86-87 Jordan, kind of like different. Is Gretzky's auto considered as tough to get as a Jordan auto, or
not even? Gretzky signs a lot. Yeah. Way more than Jordan. Not even it's night and day. It's too bad. There's a lot. You can get a Gretzky, you can get a really nice Gretzky autograph for $300.
Nice. Oh, well.
Yeah. Get a really nice Jordan auto is going to cost you what, 10 grand now? Like it's
yeah. I mean, a really nice one. Yeah. Yeah. I think you can kind of slide in for $1,000 for like a sticker that might, be a little off and whatnot. I'm kind of that's been something I've been dabbling in, is LeBron and just autos of Hall of Famers, particularly if I can find them on card, and a good graph. I mean, getting back to aesthetics in the same way that you want to think about a particular card and what it looks like. An auto can have different iterations. I really appreciated the auto expert you had on. I don't recall his name, but you've had two, actually. I remember there was one even in the past. Maybe it was the same dude. I don't know if he came on twice. But yeah, that any information I can get about autographs and signing tendencies and authenticity, I find that pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about, I had Steve Grad, who's the lead authenticator at Beckett Authentication Services, the guy from Pawn Stars. And then I had on just recently was Joel Alpert, who's an autograph guy as well. Yeah, those are both fun episodes. Okay, a couple comments I want to run through here. Paul confirms it is the mayor of Canada in the house. Chris says my collection is worth at least 800 Palfies. I'll confirm that. It is worth at least 800 Palfies. Colin gives some advice. Definitely register as a business if you are a seller. Write off collections you buy, eBay fees, grading fees. Yep, you get to take expenses. Rich wants me to rip it. I'm not going to rip it, Rich, but Rich is the mayor. Sorry, mayor. I'm not going to rip it. Chris, more like 1,000 Palfies PSA 10s. Yep, at least 1,000 PSA 10 Palfies, fellas. Chris says there's also the 96-97 Upper Deck jersey tributes in that, Jeremy. Oh, I didn't realize those were in there too. That's kind of cool. Thank you for that, Chris. Really cool. Yes, Rich, I still want your Gretzky. I always want your Gretzky. Name. Oh, I love Premier 0102. Super nice, but 0304 is my favorite. I hear you, dude. I hear you very much. Jordan hates people, I think. Magic Johnson signs all the time. My local memorabilia place always does a signing of him every year. Yeah, I don't doubt it. My brother actually represents Magic Johnson for his autographs.
Oh, wow.
My brother's in the business. Yeah. And Magic Johnson exclusively signs for my brother. Yeah. Leave that at that for now. Rich Barone, 500 Gretzky's for one Jordan. Sounds like about the right ratio. Yes. But back to you, Dex. I'm wondering, who is your local memorabilia place? Are you in Scottsdale, Arizona? But if not, maybe my brother just sends Magic out there. Anyway, enough about that. Legion says UD doesn't include Jordan autos in Goodwin. Gretzky is in there. Do they not ever do Jordan in Goodwin? Ever? They have in the past, I think, but maybe not this past year. But curious about the kind of the timeline on that, Legion. That blows my mind. Magic Johnson would make an appearance at a memorabilia show. He's a billionaire. Well, hey, he's got to do something with his time, right? What do you think is the toughest auto? Well, you know that, Rich. What sport? You tell us, because I know you know. Dexflow says, I own a Jordan signed jersey UD authentication, but it's valued less because it's on a Wizards jersey instead of Bulls. Yeah, very few people want that Wizards jersey. I have to think he's known as a Bull. Don't think people really care about the Wizards period of his career. OC dugout near Angel Stadium. Okay, cool. And Legion says, yes, I meant this year on Good. Yeah, I guess they didn't put him in there. You know, those Jordan autos, when the amount that they get every year at Upper Deck, they need to very carefully allocate them out is my understanding, and make sure that they spend them wisely, I guess you could say. Cool.
I was appreciative of the point you made with Chris, not only, The Last Dance, but Kobe's passing, and kind of how that whole trajectory really was a bit of the upwelling of everything. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't alone. I mean, just reckoning Kobe's passing in such a sudden, and in hindsight now, with everything that's happened with COVID, it's like, God, what a year. But like, going back to that moment, and speaking, that precipitated in me. I mean, I had a couple Kobe autos, and I immediately wanted to try and get more Kobe autos just to have some form of connection with him. And what was interesting about that, it was the immediate spike, a little bit of a decline, and now a gradual re-up. And, we were sort of talking about the patterns and the cycles, if you will, of the way these things work. But I think Kobe and the whole situation. I mean, now you got LeBron there bringing a legacy again to the Lakers, and you mentioned Magic. So it's an interesting time with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when Kobe died, his and I know just because I have in my collection his PSA 10 Topps Chrome card.
Mm.
I mean, I think I bought that thing for $900, and when before he died, it was doing like $2,000 to $2,500. He died, there were some sales as high as like $8,000, and then it settled down to $5,000, and then it came back down to about $3,500. Still better than the $2,500 it was the day before he died. And then the COVID thing happened, and now it's like $10,000 to $15,000.
Right. I was going to say, isn't it at least 5? Yeah. 10,000, 5 figures. Yeah.
Yeah. It's at least 5. It's at least 10,000 now. Yeah. And it changes every day. There's a card or two sold just about every day, but yeah.
It's funny.
Almost.
Somebody posted, and who knows if this was real, but somebody posted like, my dad had these amazing Kobe cards, and it was a rookie chrome refractor. And everybody was giving him advice, like, should I grade these? And people were like, take it directly to, PSA, like, don't screw around with this, get a hotel. Because goodness knows what the refractor, graded.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge, the refractor, man. I only wish I would have bought a PSA 10 refractor for $5,000 when I had the chance, man. Crazy what's gone on with some of these modern-ish cards. Shoeless Joe Jacksons are tough, no doubt. Tiger Jordan welcomes his Magic thrives off of fan adoration, so loves doing appearances like signings. Well, yeah, man, whatever makes you happy, right? I like this. Jordan Wizards are like Montana Chiefs. Nobody really cares, right? Rich. Okay, the mayor tells us what's tough. Kid Nichols in basketball. Football, it's Brian Piccolo. And basketball, Naismith. Who is the toughest auto in hockey? You know what? It's either George Vezina or someone like that. I think it's Vezina actually that is like known as the toughest kind of old timer from my recollection. But there's also Cyclone Taylor might be a real tough one as well. There's a couple that I know are really tough where there's like one or two known in existence type of thing. Dex says, yeah, the Kobe PSA 10 Chrome is out of my price range now. Yeah, I'm glad I got in when I did on that. I got in on the LeBron for like $1,000 too. Now it's in that $10,000 plus range. Same with my Michael Jordan. Bought that for under $1,000, but I bought it like 12 years ago. So if you were buying good cards in the 2000s, you're sitting pretty right now if you bought quality pieces for sure. That's the end of the comments, Joe. We're at an hour 20, longer than I was thinking we'd go. But unless we have any other questions or comments, anything else you want to say, Joe, I'm about ready to wrap it up. What do you think?
I appreciate every bit of your time, and your listeners are always so thoughtful. It feels like a community. The familiar names, the Legions and Paul Cashman's people I don't even know. So I hope someday maybe we'll all, be able to, tip a beer together and be in proximity. But yeah, I appreciate being on the show and always learn and enjoy the process of, communing, because for me, for a long time, I was a very isolated collector. I didn't get into the social media stuff until just recently. And, being able to connect with collectors has been a real invigorating aspect of the hobby for me. Just very appreciative and enjoy looking forward. What's on Wednesday night? What do we got coming up Wednesday?
I got nothing planned for Wednesday night so here's the upcoming episodes.
What? Jeremy? I mean, come on now.
I know, man. I've got nothing planned until the 18th. And the reason is this week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I've got some professional training that I'm doing. Okay. And so I just didn't book anything for the night before, and it's actually going Saturday as well. So I booked nothing on Saturday night. All that said, I might decide to do a very last minute episode on Wednesday. If I have nothing else kind of going on, I might just do something anyway. We'll see. But right now, nothing planned. First time ever. I've taken some time off of Sports Cards Live. Kind of looking forward to it, to be honest, because it's while I love doing this, I absolutely love it. I think everyone can tell it is a lot of work and a lot of time, and it's time well spent and work well done. But again, I might just take a couple of days off here. But again, the calendar is pretty much full up until the middle of December, and then I'll have to start hunting for more guests and all that. But I got some logs in the fire type of thing, so it'll happen. We got some more wow, we're getting actual tips here. Holy moly. I thank you guys. Dex hit me with a $5. Wow, man. This is like the coolest thing ever. Thank you, Dex. Much appreciated. Carlos, good to see you still. Good job, guys. Fun to listen while grabbing a snack. So here you go, Joe. Tomorrow night, more of Jeremy. I'll be on with Carlos at 6:30 Pacific, which is your time, 7:30 mine, 9:30 his time. Okay. So we'll be doing an episode of Because I'm Carlos, which should be another nice, relaxing hobby talk episode. So tune in if y'all can and drop your comments in there and make sure you're subscribed to Carlos's channel. Terry says
Carlos is awesome. He's so fun. I feel like I've known him, but I don't know him. But right? He's one of those guys you just kind of like, oh, I know a Carlos, or I know Carlos.
Well, you know what, Joe, like you were saying, hoping we can tip a beer together one day. I think we have to, a lot of these people that are in here, we have to make sure that we, make it a priority to get to the National next year in Chicago.
Okay.
Best place for it. It's the most central. It's easiest for me to get to. I'll be there for sure if it's on. So, got people start putting that in their calendar and try and come out. I really hope more and more people do. Terry, cards to show. Not a lot. I showed this. This I got in my Mayor. If you're still watching, what do you think of this card? I got this in my Beckett Industry Summit swag box, which is Josh Allen, 1 of 1, the full Bulls logo. Like, this card is just phenomenal. I'm super stoked to add that. Got a nice Ronald Reagan card here also from the Industry Summit. This is it comes in this package. It's called A Word from the President of the United States. I guess you could have gotten Lincoln, JFK, who else do they say here? George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. Could have gotten those. I got a Ronald Reagan card, and it's actually kind of cool. It's called The Word from the President, and it's literally a word. And the word is cottage. And it says on the back, it says, this authentic handwritten word comes from a letter Ronald Reagan wrote in 1953. The letter was reviewed and authenticated by Beckett Authentication Services, who is my number. I trust them more than any other authenticator because I know Steve Grad personally and believe him to be the best in the business, along with partners Brian Sobrero and others there. And so anyway, this is kind of neat. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but, Reagan was a president while I was alive, so that's kind of neat, and well-liked president, so kind of cool. Otherwise, I got this stack of cards that are recent, but I think I showed these all already. I'm pretty sure I did. I might not have shown this Crosby Cup base patch parallel out of 8 to my hoard of those cards. Goes along with 3 others. Here, you'll like this, Terry. I got the Gretzky from 10-11. Which I've shown, I believe, on a previous episode, and then also a Jerome McGinley and a Luc Robitaille, all from different years, but I love those cards from all the years. Otherwise, oh, Terry, you'll like this. I bought this raw the other day.
Ooh. So what's the tip for making sure it's real? That's because I've seen some raw ones on eBay, but I don't trust myself to know how to distinguish.
So, I mean, the common, first of all, if you look at a lot, this is the first thing people point to is that yellow dot on the shoulder there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a printing fly, I believe. Like there was a, speck in there. Otherwise, you know what, Joe, for me, it's like, you just know. There are things, but it's the cardstock, it's the print. Really, if you get out your loop and you look at the letters, Edmonton Oilers, you look at all the thin black lines, and you make sure that they're solid and they're not like dot matrix type of thing.
Right.
That's what I look for. I look at the cardstock itself, smell the card, believe it or not, smell the card.
Looking forward.
And you laugh, but it's true. And then if a card is off centered like this,
yeah,
it's probably going to be real.
A good sign. Yeah.
Sign.
Is it mostly that left right centering shift that's way left?
Most often, yeah. Often it is. Yeah. You're right. I have 4 fake Gretzky rookies. They're all different that I have. I take them to card shows with me, mostly to show people what to look for, to help educate on fake Gretzkys. But once you see enough of them, you kind of know. Like I can pretty much look at one now and just know, because I've looked and I've been through so many of these that you just know. I think
86, 87 Fleer Jordan is a little bit like that. The card stock, it's pretty obvious with what you're working with. I got one thing in the mail today.
Let's see it.
I'm not super proud of it, but it's apropos of a couple things we talked about, the SGC label, and then also the 52 Mays.
One sec. Okay. No, just before you do, I just want to do this very quickly. I just want to say to Rich, be well to you, my two. And then I want to say Legion hit me with a financial tip, which that's just, the reason it's like the money doesn't matter. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it's the fact that you guys are willing to do that just tells me how much you like the show. And that's what I appreciate the most. So thank you guys. Okay. Sorry about that, Joe. Let's see what you got.
No worries. Yeah. So like I said, I've been kind of focusing on Willie Mays lately. And I think I have at least one 52 Mays, but this one came up and I'm pretty sure trimmed. So, it's SGC. There's no creases in it. I believe it's probably just slightly trimmed up here.
Yeah.
But it's a legit Mays 52 high number. Oops, God, this is hard. There we go. And good stock. It gets the A for authentic. But in any case, I've got mixed feelings about it, but the price was I put on a low best offer and the seller accepted it, and I've already got a couple legit ones, but nothing that's as clean as that. So it's an addition.
Man, I would be proud of it. I've been very tempted to buy authentic trimmed cards before, especially that kind of like the 52 Tops mantle. Man, if you can give me a clean looking PSA authentic trimmed mantle that has no surface damage, good color, good print quality, no creases. Man, I'll pay decent money for that card. I'd rather have that than a dirty PSA 3 of the card that would cost 3 times as much. Sometimes it's about owning the card in a way that looks good. Even if it's trimmed, it's still authentic. It's not the worst thing in the world, I don't think.
I tend to agree with you. There's always like some little sheepishness, but it's almost better that it's noted as authentic. So I'm not trying to fool you. It's actually for my own edification and personal collection. So
still a beautiful card, man. A beautiful card. I'd be very proud of it. I'd be very proud of that card. 100. I love it. I think I would own that card. Easy. Let's run through some comments. Dex Flow, nice Legion with a tip. This guy is great content. Yeah, thank you guys. That's I don't know, man. It's just so weird anyway, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dex. Really nice of you. Do a Pokemon break? No. You too, Dex. Dex, I had a long drive and literally listened to his Joe Grad episode interview. Steve Grad, maybe Steve Grad. But thank you, Dex. Oh, was that the first time you heard of the show? If it is, thank you very much. Carlos, I appreciate the feedback. I'll let the actor who plays Carlos know you approve. The scriptwriters have been working overtime. Carlos, funny guy. Legion, kind of glad it skipped.
Carlos, tell him to turn it up a little.
Yeah, kind of glad it skipped Atlantic City. Not gonna lie, me too, Legion. I'm with you. Kind of glad it skipped Atlantic City, although they just booked it for 2022, I believe, because Cleveland got canceled. I will buy first rounds in Chicago. Can't wait, Richie. Can't wait. Yeah, Rich likes his dead presidents. He likes his dead cuts, I should say. Rich collects autographs of deceased players. Buffalo patch will be mine. Will it, Rich? Will it? Okay. Well, hey, at least I have something you want. Thank you, Terry. Show some Islanders. I got nothing to show you right now, Richie. No Islanders to show. If I had a Babe Ruth rookie card, I would be scared to send it to anyone for grading. Yeah, that's why you buy it graded already, maybe. And with a card like that, you kind of want to buy it graded, I would think. Tiger Jordan, much appreciated. Hoping can make Chicago. Hoping you can too. Colors are nice on that card, says Legion. I think that's your maze, man, which was, yeah, let's see it again. I want to see it again. I just put it.
It's the registration that's, yeah. I mean, having seen a few of these, and I mean, I would kind of like if it wasn't, sorry, I keep moving it. Let's see if that's
best way to show it to the camera, Joe, is tilt the top, keep it straight on, tilt the top towards the screen, I find.
Towards the screen, okay.
Yeah, now straighten it out.
Yeah, I'm getting this.
Not really working. Too much glare. That's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good registration, and you and I have talked about registration and centering as pretty important ingredients to overall aesthetic.
Registration to me is like maybe number one. Nothing I dislike more than a blurry card. I have no interest in blurry cards. Good call. Eye appeal is key. Right there. Tiger Jordan agrees with us, right? Agrees with us. Dex confirms. Yep, Steve Grad found your show through Personal Finance Dad. Hey, that's wicked. He's a great dude. Dustin's just such an easy guy to watch and listen to his episodes. He's just one of the nice guys out there. And then Name says, okay, this is going to be the last questions. We are going late. Name says, what's your favorite card in your collection, Joe? Don't got to show it if it's not handy. Let's hear it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you for asking that question, Name. And I'm pretty sure it's probably in the vault. So I have a signed 54 Aaron. It's it's a ballpoint ink sign. But I'm not sure it's that. I also have a Larry Doby. I believe it's the 49 Bowman that we were talking about. That's Best Wishes Larry Doby in auto PSA DNA. I don't know. Gosh, you put me on the spot here. I'm honestly that Satchel Paige that you were showing earlier, that issue. I don't know. There's something about that card. There's also a card that I'm extremely fond of that other people probably wouldn't know, but it's an American Carmel 1911 Rube Waddell. It's just got this amazing green background, Rube Waddell, pitcher, Hall of Famer. For whatever reason, I think I've got like a PSA 3 in that. And it's not all that valuable, but it's just one of those cards that I just go, that's Sports Americana. So anyway.
Yeah. The thing about the late 40s Leaf and Bowman cards is the simplicity and the vibrant colors. That's what I love about those. You mentioned the American Caramel card. I have one American Caramel card in my collection because, like most of us, I'll never own a Tito 6 Honus Wagner. but I had an opportunity to buy. I'll show, and I know if Terry's still watching, wants to see more cards, I don't mind showing. I picked this card up several years ago.
Oh yeah.
It's in 1910 American Caramel, Honus Wagner, of course. And I like this. I like it better than the T206. I like the blue better than the orange. And I think that even the picture of his face is just it's just like more, I don't know. I just like it more.
What's the grade on that?
2.
God, that's a beautiful 2.
It's got some like staining in the bottom corner there. It's tough to see, but it does. Yeah. But yeah, a decent
4. I mean, yeah, beautiful. Wow, the blue. It's like people are talking about blue Lucas, You're talking blue Honus.
How about a blue Honus Wagner from 110 years ago? Yeah, that's a wicked card. Again, it's like I'll never. Oh, there's Terry chiming in with the very nice. Thank you, Terry. I thought you'd appreciate that. Yeah, it's again, you're not. It's one of these situations where, you know, if and I recommend this to anybody. If you're never going to own a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, that's fine. Buy a different Wayne Gretzky card if you want. Buy a second year. Buy the Topps card instead of the O-Pee-Chee. The Topps card looks, you know, it's the exact same card except for card stock. Like it's.
I don't know. You convinced me in the O-Pee-Chee. I feel like I need, if it's hockey, I need Canadian. I don't want to mess around. If it's my only hockey card at this point, I want the O-Pee-Chee. But I hear you. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
And I support that, and that's still my position. But if you can't afford it, you know, if you can't, or if you're not willing to go, you know, 6 or lower, you need a 7, but you can't afford the O-Pee-Chee, get the top 7. It's still a wonderful card. That's all I'm saying with that. But yeah, thank you, Foul 5-Ball, much appreciated. Chris, I started looking at registration on cards since hearing Jeremy talk about it many shows ago. Amazing how bad some of them are. Yeah, it's the one. It's one of the grading criteria that people just do not pay enough attention to. I don't know if they just don't realize that it's even a factor or that it can be good or bad.
This is was it Name that asked one of my favorite cards?
Yeah.
So this is Duke Kahanamaku, and Name probably knows who this guy is. He's a Hawaiian. He was an Olympic swimmer, and he's also a very well-known surfer. Anybody that's been to, you know, kind of the Waikiki and or, you know, any place in Hawaii, the Duke. This is a more recent one. I think my best is a 4. I've got 3 of these, and these Sports Kings, they're pretty awesome. Again, it's like my favorite probably changes, you know, day to day. Like, which one's my favorite today?
You know what? I just want to throw this up there quick in case he's still here. Chris Noel says, thanks, guys. Good night. Jeremy, you have a new fan. Like, man, that's just, you know, thanks, man. I that's wicked. Again, more motivation to keep going and not stop in this Sports Cards Live thing that we're doing here. So thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. You were talking about that card you just showed. There was something else I wanted to say, and now it skipped my mind. So I'm, because of that, I'm going to keep on going through some of this. And I think it had to do with the registration thing, but it'll come back to me. Thank you, Terry Legion. Sometimes a card just speaks to you. Love it. Yeah, exactly. Make me an offer. Yeah, because Rich Broen actually has a T206 Wagner. Yeah, he does. He does. Yes. An offer. I'll make you an offer, Rich. $10,000. There's your offer. Rich, you can have all my Islanders. Duke, I was born in Hawaii. There you go. There you go. Sick card. Yeah. Do you have a 38 DiMaggio? I do. I do have a 38 DiMaggio. Yes, I do. Because I'm just making sure you're talking about the 38 Gaudi.
Or no, that's the right.
That's my 38 DiMaggio. It's I bought this from the guys I was telling you about at National that only buy the best of the grade. So this is a very strong 5.
Yeah.
And it's the card 250, not the 279. I think it's 279 that has all the like the little doodles on it. And I like the cleaner version for myself.
This is Hank Greenberg. Ungraded. It's got some paper loss up by his hat, but I had one of those DiMaggios. I sold it like, I don't know, years ago. I think I got a 41 play ball DiMaggio. That's pretty sweet. Or that, but that's that one you have. What was the grade on yours?
It's a 5.
Ooh, that's no joke. That's no joke.
It's a great card. Yeah.
They have the 2 versions, the Puro, and then the one with like a few little comments on the side.
Yeah. I was just saying that when you were grabbing that. Yeah, the one I have is a card 250, no doodles. I think it's 279 has the doodles, and I just wanted the cleaner copy. I kind of had to think about that long and hard to decide which one I wanted, and I wanted the clean one. You talk about 41 play ball. I have the Pee Wee Reese. I love the Pee Wee Reese card. Yeah. It's handy to have all your cards scanned and on your phone in your Dropbox. Name says really cool card. Thanks for sharing. Rich says you need your own card. That'd be cool. I'll admit that if any card company ever wants to put me in their card set, it would be a dream come true. Let's face it. I'll readily admit to that. Hockey, would you trade your entire collection for the T206? If you're asking me, absolutely not. I'm absolutely not. I wouldn't even trade a portion of my collection for it. I mean, unless I was going to sell it, take the money and buy my collection back, but that I think defeats the purpose.
And the time that it would take to recreate what you've done with the collection. I mean, I don't know, it depends on life circumstances, obviously, but yeah, the massaging of, your various, elements of the collection, it would be.
It's not even I'm not even tempted in the least. I not even tempted in the least. I wouldn't even, no. But a fun question to ponder still. A fun question to ponder. Chris says, do you have any of the Blast from the Past Gretzky reprints, Jeremy? There's a Chrome Refract. Yes, I have the non-refractor version. I have the whole set, actually, of the Blast from the Past, all 10 cards or whatever it is. And I collected them and I had them PSA graded. And I think the Gretzky came back in 9, but the Gordie Howe's, I believe, at 10, and so is my Bobby Hull. Probably got like 7 9s and 3 10s or something like that when I got them graded. Dex Flow, damn, Jeremy has monsters in his collection. I got a couple monsters, Dex. I got a couple monsters. Legion, Jeremy Lee, Otto, Allen, and Ginter, 2021. Let's upset the baseball guys. Yeah, they're like, who the heck is this? That would be a dream come true. I gotta say.
Would it be on card or would it be a sticker? That would be the question.
Oh, I would only do on card autos. Only on card for my fans. That's so funny to say. T206 means nothing to me, only stands out because people value it. Yeah, same here. When I picked up the Honus Wagner, it was because, let me retract. The T206 is probably like the most widely collected vintage pre-war set, right? There's so many people that love it. I think the problem with it is that a lot of those people are dying, just to be blunt. And I think it's going to lose some of its luster over time. But maybe some young people will take it on and really, really, covet that set. When I picked up the Wagner American Caramel, I picked it up because, number one, it's a cool card. I collect Hall of Fame rookies. Maybe it's not a rookie, but I don't, I do make exceptions to that. And again, it's like, he's still from the first Hall of Fame class. He's a pioneer of the game. He's not a no-name like in hockey. The rarest kind of card is this Bert Corbo from 1923 Patterson. It's like the guy he had a cup of coffee in the NHL kind of player, but a lot of people think this is the most valuable and important hockey card. I'm like, it doesn't even register for me. It doesn't even register on the importance scale. It's like I don't even want it. I have no interest in the Bert Corbo, but the T206, and it's got a similar story to the Honus. Oh, the Honus was not there because he didn't want to be associated with cigarettes, or he wanted to get paid, whichever story is true. The Corbo was the card that was short printed so that all the kids couldn't collect the set, send them in for the premium product, whatever it was, a bicycle or a pair of skates, and get it back. So it was intentionally short printed. But the guy's a nobody. If you would have made the Howie Morenz or the King Clancy or the Aurel Joliot the short print, now you're talking, right? But anyway, sorry, a little rant. I'd never understood the desire for that card.
What year did you get into the Blue Honus?
I probably bought that. I don't know. It's not that long ago. That was probably 2012, 13, 14 in there. Yeah, probably in there. Joe Malone. Joe Malone's got a rookie card in the same set as the George Vezina, the C55. I have the Joe Malone as well. Bought that probably in 2008, 7 or 8, and a PSA 5, I believe. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to talk about the cards I have, but we don't need to revisit everything there. Wagner wanted to get paid. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's one of the theories. And Rich, are we like, is that what it wasn't that he didn't want to be so? And it's actually the competing theory is that he didn't want to be associated with cigarette smoking and kids. I love it, Joe. Thanks for putting on the Canadian hat. But it's hard to think that anyone in 1909 would have cared about cigarettes and smoking and kids. It's like cigarettes were not known as being unhealthy back then. So I would lean to what Rich is saying. It's probably that he wanted to get paid for his image. Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, that makes more sense to me than the smoking thing. But who knows? All right, guy. Man, we're like an hour past where I thought we'd get, but this is fun. Joe, you're an awesome co-host for After Hours. So really appreciate you volunteering to come on and being ready and willing and able, man. This has been a lot of fun. I can't wait till I get down to Santa Cruz next time, whenever it may be. Definitely come tip a beer with you then. How often does Joe get stopped on the street with someone thinking he's Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah, right?
Who's that guy on X-Files? That's who I get more confused with. Mulder?
Yeah. Can't think of his name right now, but yeah, I could see that too.
But yeah, I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers in Santa Cruz like back in the 80s, and Flea was doing what Flea does with socks and stuff.
Yeah, wearing them is the only piece of clothing, right? Yeah. I saw them. I went to the first, I think it was the first Lollapalooza in Chicago in 1993. And they were there as well. And what a show. Pearl Jam was there, and Soundgarden, everyone was there. What a show that. David Duchovny. Thank you, Chris. What a show that was. Oh man, what a year. Paul Cashman, 1909. The kids were probably smoking. Yeah, right? For sure. Okay, guys, we got to call it. I'm tired. Yeah. By Yosemite. Hit me up if you're in the area. For sure, Legion. For sure. Or you think he's talking to you though, Joe?
Yeah, Yosemite. Well, the fires have died down, so maybe we can.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. What a year, okay, guys. Crazy time.
We're gonna call it. I'm tired. My voice is going, but this has been fun. Joe, awesome co-host. Thanks for joining me. Everybody out there, thank you for joining. Thanks, guys, that sent the tips my way. Legion here and Dax. Greatly appreciate that, guys. The gesture is not missed by me at all. I really appreciate it, fellas. And everyone else for joining, and the comments, and Name. Great to see you, buddy. Glad the show is going strong. Thank you, man. Still having fun with it. And so anyway, I'll be back soon. Maybe not this week ahead, but definitely be up. If you're not joined into the Facebook group, the Sports Cards Live Facebook group, join there, because I'll kind of keep people posted there as well if you want to know what's going on and when the next episode will be. But again, the next show is booked for November the 18th. I may do a surprise show on Wednesday if I'm really up for it and not studying for my training that I have coming up at the end of the week. So, Joe, hang tight right there for 1 minute while we end this. Everyone else, thank you for joining. Legion, that's a big one, man. That's a big one. 9. That might be a record. I don't know if anyone's ever got nine hand claps from Legion. That's a big deal, and I know it's a big deal. So thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Colin, great to see you. Thank you for joining. We'll see you at the and everybody, make sure you guys are coming to the Sport Card Expo, November 21, 22. Go to that website. I do believe admission is free, and that's going to be a fun weekend. I'll be streaming the whole time at my booth, selling cards and just chit-chatting. We can get like 10 people in the room at a time, so that'll be a lot of fun. Paul, good night to you. Thank you for joining as always. All right, man. I'm ending it. Good night, everybody.